Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome, come on in. Just in case you didn't know, it's been scientifically proven that you cannot own too many houseplants. So today's video is dedicated to the linen stitch square and it is brought to you by every single person that asked about the pattern when I update on my 2021 temperature blanket. Today's video is going to start with a demonstration of the linen stitch square from the very beginning. And then after that, if you want to stick around, I'm going to dive a bit deeper into the plans and what I'm executing for 2021 when it comes to my temperature blanket. Alright, without further ado, let's make the linen stitch square. For today's tutorial, we're using a 6.5mm crochet hook and Yarn and Colors Zen, which is a category for worsted weight. This yarn recommends using a size between a 5 or a 6mm. I prefer to use a little bit larger when working the linen stitch, so I went for a 6.5mm. We're going to start with a magic loop, so I'm going to lay the tail of the yarn over my hand, wrap around my finger 2 times, and then I'm going to bring that first loop over the second loop over the first. I'm going to hold the 2 ends and pull, and that's going to give me my adjustable ring. I'm going to flip that ring up ways so that the knot is here at the top, and I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to chain 1. And that kind of sets my magic ring. So now in the ring, we're going to single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 2, 4 times. Here we go. Here's a single and chain 1, single, chain 2. So that's 1 time. Single, chain 1, single, chain 2. That's 2 times. Single, chain 1, single, chain 2, that's 3 times, single, chain 1, single, and chain 2, that's 4 times. I'm going to drop my hook out, grab my tail, and pull to close my ring. I'm going to drop that tail to the back, insert my hook. I'm going to find my first single crochet. It's a lot easier for me to find the 2 loops here at the top of the stitch. Insert my hook under those 2 loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through for a slip stitch. So that's the first round. From here, we'll chain 1 and turn our work. So the first space we have here is a chain 2 space. So that's our corner. We'll single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet in that corner, and follow that with a chain 1. Now next we'll want to go into the chain space, which is here. If you have trouble finding it, especially in these early rounds, I like to flip my work over, and it's a lot easier to find that single crochet and the chain space next to it. I'll then just kind of with the corner of my nail kind of give myself an indicator there of where my hook is meant to go, and I'll single crochet into that space. Chain 1, and then the next space is a chain 2 space, which is our corner, where we'll single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again. Followed by a chain 1, and we'll want to go into the next chain space here, where if I just wiggle my single crochets apart, it's pretty easy to find. Single crochet there. Chain 1, next space is a corner, so remember that single, chain 2, single again. Followed by a chain 1. Wiggle those stitches apart to find that chain 1 space, and single crochet into it. Chain 1, we've got a corner, so we'll single, chain 2, single again, followed by a chain 1. Right there, we'll single crochet into it, chain 1. Now that is going to end our stitches for the round, so we'll want to join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round, which is right here. It may help if you have some difficulty when you're first learning this to just place a stitch marker in that first stitch if you want to. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through for a slip stitch. We'll chain 1 and turn our work to start round 3. The key to getting these squares looking amazing is turning at the end of each round. Otherwise, you're going to get kind of that vortex and that warping that you'll get with granny squares sometimes. So just make sure you are always turning your rounds. So here in round 3, we started with a chain 1. Our first space is a chain 1 space, so we'll single crochet into that. Chain 1, single in the next space, chain 1, next space is a corner, so we'll single, chain 2, and single again, followed by a chain 1, single in the space, chain 1, single in the next space, chain 1. In our corner, we'll single, chain 2, single again, followed by a chain 1. Continuing around, we'll single in the next space, chain 1, single in the next space, chain 1. Single in the corner, chain 2, another single into the corner. On this side, we'll single in the next space, chain 1, single in the space, chain 1, and work our corner, single, chain 2, single again, followed by a chain 1. Don't forget that. Now we're at the end of our round again. We've got our first single crochet that started the round right here between my thumbs. Insert under both loops there at the top of that stitch. Yarn over, pull up the loop, pull through for a slip stitch. And that's essentially the square. You'll just continue that round. So if you got it, great. And if not, let's do another round together. Chain 1 and turn. First space we've got here, right here between my thumbs, is a single crochet. Chain 1, then to the corner, single, chain 2, single again, chain 1. Moving down this side here, we've got a chain space, which we'll place a single crochet into, followed by a chain 1, single in the space, chain 1, single in the space, chain 1. Work the corner, chain 1. Now we're going to single in the next space, chain 1, until we get to our next corner. So there's a single and a chain, single in the space and a chain, single in the space and a chain. Work the corner, which is just single, chain 2, a single, and a chain 1. Now along this edge, single in the corner, chain 1 until we get to the next corner. Single in the chain 1, single in the chain 1, single in the chain 1, and now we're at the corner. Single, chain 2, single, followed by a chain 1. So we can see we've got the end of our round coming up here, but we still have a few stitches to work here. So we're going to single in the next space, chain 1, single in this space, chain 1. Join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round. And then I would chain and turn my work and continue. So when you're done, you'll just tighten that loop up so you don't have any hole in the middle. Snip here, lift that loop up and out, weave in those ends, and your linen stitch square will be all done. Okay, I hope that tutorial was helpful. I've really enjoyed working up this square over the last several months, and I hope you enjoy it as well. If you're interested, let's talk temperature blankets, because I know I'm going to get questions about them, so I'm just going to lay out all the details right here. Okay, so my blanket is going to consist of 12 squares, one for each month. The squares are going to be 3 across on the bottom and then 4 up. So the finished blanket with 15-inch squares should be 45 by 60, I believe. And that's before the border. I am planning to put a 2-inch border on the blanket. I'm using Cascade 220 Superwash Merino, which is so buttery soft and lovely. It's categorized somewhere between a DK and a worsted, but I'd say it's on the lighter side of worsted rather than the heavier side of DK. And for that reason, I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. The hook that I'm using comes from Crochet Styles. I absolutely love it. It is perfect with this merino wool. It gives me fantastic gauge. It's the only hook that I've been using for this project. For each of my squares, I'm doing 1 round per day, and each finished square has 33 rounds. Now, the reason I'm doing that, of course, is because some months are shorter than others. So by doing 1 round each day, I then fill in the last several rounds with just white. So each square kind of has a built-in border before I seam them together. I've got 12 groups of temperatures this year. It was a lesson that I've learned now being in my 3rd year of doing temperature blankets that I need a whole lot of steps in between each of those colors. So my gauge ranges from 27 degrees up to 93. Of course, that's in Fahrenheit. And I think 12 different groups is actually working out really well because I'm getting a lot of variation early in the year when temperatures are just floating all over the place. I'm really liking this pattern. One main reason, of course, being that it's super easy to catch up if I fall behind. Another nice thing about a pattern like this is since I have 12 different groups of colors and then I'm doing 1 round per day, I'm seeing a lot of variation within a single square. Another nice thing about this type of pattern is that if you change your mind, it's okay. You won't have to go back and do a whole bunch of other work. My original color palette for this blanket didn't quite work out. I got all the way through, I think, the end of February, and I was like, not working. And there are some colors that I needed to pull out and replace with other ones. So even though I was 2 months in, I still had enough leeway to revamp my entire color palette and come up with something that I loved. All right, so that is kind of the plan and what I'm working with for my 2021 blanket. We're a few days into April, so I thought it would be fun for us to get caught up together. Let's do that. First thing I'll need to do is pull the colors for this month so far. So I've got 6 days in so far. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna grab my phone and I'm gonna go to wunderground.com. I'm gonna click over here and get historical weather for my area. So I'm going to pull the high temps so far that we've had. Now that I have those, I'm going to match them up with my temperature gauge. 38 degrees has me falling with coral cloud. 45 is ash rose. 59 is pastel turquoise. We're going to have a lot of variation here. So we've got green, blue, slate here. 74 is lemon. And 75 is lemon. So we're going to be changing color almost every round for these first 6 days. All right, so my first color is Coral Cloud, which is this soft pink color, which this doesn't feel very coral at all, but whatever you say. The hook that I'm using for my temperature blanket is this really pretty one from Crochet Styles. Love it, love it. So we're going to start with our magic ring, pull it through, flip it over, and we've got our single crochets and chains. And then I want to do my join, and I'm going to make sure that my tail is hanging to the back because round 1 is the right side of my work. So I'm going to find that first single crochet, wiggle my hook under there, and join with a slip stitch. Now this is the only time I'm going to need Coral Cloud for a while, so I'm going to snip this and drop this yarn from my project. Put it back in the basket. Next color is Ash Rose, which is the next color up, which is this pretty mauve color. It's the only purple that I have in my whole blanket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up and out of my work, and I want to make sure this tail falls to the back as well. So I'm going to find a corner here, and I'm going to join with a standing single crochet. So I'm going to make my slip knot, put it on my hook. I'm going to insert it into that corner chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for a standing single crochet. Chain 2 and another single crochet into that space, chain 1, single crochet into the next chain space, which is here. Chain 1. Now as I'm working this corner, again, I just want to make sure the tails of my other color have fallen to this side of my work. So in that corner, single, chain 2, single, chain 1, work the chain space, and then I'm going to bring this end to the back of the work just to make sure all the ends stay on the same side, so when it's time to weave in the ends, they're already where they belong. Then I'm going to slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round. Now I'm not using this ash for a while again, so I'm going to snip it and drop it from my work. So this is the side I was just working on. I will now turn my work for my next round. And I'm just going to pick this next chain 2 space here in the corner, and I'll need pastel turquoise. Pastel turquoise is this nice, really light turquoise color, which I love. So I'm going to do round 3, of course joining with a standing single crochet. All right, so that's round 3. I'm going to snip that color because next we're going to green blue slate. So again, we're going to lift that loop up and out and turn our work. I'm going to go to this chain 2 space right here, joining with a standing single crochet. Now I have 2 rounds of lemon after this. I don't know yet if I'll need this color again, so I'm actually going to just leave this attached, and I'm going to turn my work, grab a new corner, and go in with my lemon color. And I'll show you, in case I do need this green blue slate, how I'll carry this work up even with 2 rounds of lemon in between. So here's our lemon color, which heavily inspired my nail color. And join with a standing single crochet. Just like before, we're going to do 2 rounds. Okay, so to make sure I don't lose this color, because I'm going to leave it attached because I don't know when I'll need lemon again, I'm going to put a locking stitch marker in it, just so that loop doesn't go anywhere. Now, let's pretend, hypothetically speaking, that the next day I need green blue slate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook into this loop, tighten down, and then for each round that I need to come up, I'm going to chain 1. So there were 2 rounds of lemon, so I'm going to chain 2 with green blue slate to give me the height that I need. Now this last round was worked on this side, so I need to turn my work, and I'm just going to find the next chain space and jump right into it, just like that. Now this will only work if you have a dedicated right and wrong side and you don't mind having kind of this traveling yarn right here, because you will be able to see it. So for example, on my March square, you can barely see it, but this aqua traveled up past a round of coral cloud into another round of aqua. You can see it here as well. I carried green blue slate up 2 rounds to make another round here. So you will have kind of an obvious chain here, but I'd rather have a chain here than 2 extra ends. Totally up to you. Everybody's preferences are different. But that is how I'm doing my 2021 temperature blanket. Alright my loves, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you learned something, and more than that, I hope this video inspired you to look into or try your own temperature blanket. If temperature blankets are a new concept to you, no problem. Miss Tony has everything that you need. I've linked a bunch of videos and blog posts down below to get you started on your temperature blanket journey. And if you are making a temperature blanket, please make sure you tag me in your updates on Instagram and use hashtag Crochet Temp Blanket 2021. So I'll see your beautiful progress. Before we go, of course, we have to give big thanks to Abby, who sponsored today's cup of caffeine, and thank you so much for your support. I filled this cup up several times today. If you enjoy my content and want to support my channel, buy me a coffee. Who knows, I might shout you out in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.